Good evening. I almost had a small disaster there. I had some flickering, and you'll probably see it in my screen. And it's because I have got the lights above us just at a perfect temperature that it's freaking out the camera and making it flip around trying to adjust for it. So, anyway. Luckily, disaster averted, and I didn't have to restart or anything. So, um, wow. I want to say this before we get started because this is probably the most important part of the show. And there's a lot of people that click on videos and they don't stick around very long, and I want to make sure that these people hear this, okay? So not long ago, I was trying to kind of give you guys a little bit of a heads up based upon what I'm seeing as to what's in our immediate, right? And so there was information that came out that the Biden administration is working on a speech, and supposedly it's a dark as 9/11 type of speech. Right now, that's what's being reported. I believe that was Jack Persovic that reported that, and so I at that time had said that I didn't really think that a vaccine mandate was quite ready to be announced. I was thinking it was just going to be like a national lockdown. I have to go back on that. I do believe that this speech will contain a national vaccine mandate. What changed my mind? Well, there's a big rush to get this vaccine approved, fully approved, no longer experimental, by the end of the month. And over the course of the past few days, the rhetoric coming from Fauci says it all. So I think we need to start having this discussion now about where do we go from here? What do we do? Now, when I say we, it's hard for me to have a discussion. I'm just a dude on YouTube. Sure, people can input stuff during the chat or during the live show in the chat, afterwards in the comments and stuff like that, but nah, I'm not the important person, okay? The important people are those that are around you. Those are the important people. I'm not the one you need to be talking about it with anyway. I think we need to start having these discussions. You know, I have done everything I could to sit on my fingers, so to speak, and to bite my tongue. There is a channel on YouTube that I love to watch because it would challenge my thinking. Beau of the Fifth Column. And yeah, I'm going to call him directly out. He did a show not super long ago, and he said something to the effect of, he talked about going to work and how he really doesn't want to go to work. Now, when I say work, I mean work. Okay? I kind of think maybe he's already working. I don't know that he ever quit. But I know one thing. Vaccine mandate? It'd be time to go to work. Man, there are lines that you shouldn't even joke about crossing. This is one of them. This is certainly one of them. I wanted to get that out of the way right up front because, again, there's a lot of folks that, they peruse YouTube and you're lucky to keep them 5 minutes. So it's important folks understand what's coming. Now that I have said that, there's no excuses. Anybody that heard my voice say it, there is no excuses for when that time comes. What do I mean by that? Well, you know how you hear about how when things happen, when certain things happen, individuals will react in ways you would never expect, right? In fact, some individuals would act exactly the opposite of what you would expect. And I'm telling you, that's true. I've seen it, I've experienced it in my own life, and it's absolutely 110% true. I can sit here and point out to you people that will get the vaccine, people that you know. People that you know. People that are right this moment screaming how they're not going to get the vaccine. I call bullshit. And I recommend that you surround yourself with individuals that aren't bullshit. I won't call them out, but there's one in New York. Dude's like, "Why are you taking the fucking vaccine?" Yeah, you're taking it, dude. Knock it off. How many years now? How many years you been a prepper? And you hadn't had the balls to move out of New York City? You're taking the vaccine. Stop. This is the serious discussion that we need to have. Because if we don't, my God, do you have any idea that if it reaches to a point to where they're rolling whatever down the streets, do you think that's a good point to let it to get to? I don't. And we don't have to. How? Speaking up now. And I don't mean just memes on Facebook. I don't mean just videos on YouTube. I don't mean just picking up a phone and calling your congressman. How far has that gotten you? Life's not a game. And I've sat here and watched people play this football game back and forth with politics and everything else under the sun. They've become conditioned that everything's got to be that game. And there's only two, right? You've got two choices. There's never any other third choice. Only two choices. That's it. That's conditioning. That's psychological conditioning. And it's been done to take away your intellect. I'm serious. Because if you succumb to the idea that there's only two choices, then that means that you won't think for yourself. You'll take whatever it is that's been handed to you with a smile. We see it happen every 4 years. Time for that game to be over. Time for the bullshit to end. This is coming. You better damn well believe this is coming. I just shared links today. You really think Fauci is going to be saying the things that he's saying, and it's not going to come to light? You think it really is going to work out that way? Because I don't. What I see is they're building their case, right? And I'm just trying to keep you on a level of things that you can openly see, things that are really kind of hard to disprove. Because there's a whole lot of other interesting stuff out there that I try not to really dive into, okay? One of those things is, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Trust me. I've been around long enough. I know. This whole thing with Fauci, all they're doing is laying the framework. That's all they're doing. And the reason I brought up framework is because, and you can go, there's many channels talking about this stuff, and I'm not going to knock them. I'm not going to say there's nothing to it or anything else, because I don't know. But there are channels that show you how you can you can, like, Google 233 in new cases, and tons will pop up. Tons of articles from different places all over the world, everything from big news affiliates down to little locals. They will all have 233 new cases, and varying different amounts of how many died. Now, I'm not asking you to jump, both feet into that. Not whatsoever. But 233 is significant. And it's very significant, as a matter of fact. And, I'll tell you what. I think I got it right. 233. It's 223 or 233. I can't remember. Why? Maybe I'm not a Mason. But, is there something I believe there's something very sinister that's running the world, not just the United States. This is a global thing. Now, we can sit here and conspiracy theory each other to death as to who it is. In the end, it really doesn't matter. What matters is what we have to deal with. We get so caught up in things that don't really matter. I mean, yeah, they may affect us, but what matters is what's in front of us. Things that we can do something about. It's important to know the other stuff, but it's even more important not to dwell on it. You have to worry about what's in front of you, not pipe dreams, so to speak. I think they're going to rush this through as far as getting the full validation, if you will. And I believe that's why we haven't heard a speech yet. Because weren't people talking about last week being the speech? And nothing. So I don't expect that you're going to hear a speech until they've got that fully wrapped up to where it's no longer considered experimental. And Fauci even said in the article that I shared out today, it was even let me get it, because it's actually, in my opinion, it's horrifying. In my opinion, is absolutely horrifying what he had to say. Okay, and then here was another one that just came out, and let me get that off to the side. Let me kind of scroll down through here. I'm not real sure. I know it was today when I shared it, but I don't know what time. I believe it was kind of early on. But there are 2 headlines that I put out just today alone involving this that it tells the whole story. Now, I would implore you that if you don't follow us on Twitter, I'm not into Twitter, folks, but here's the deal. I put out news on Twitter all day long. If you want to catch everything that I'm going to be talking about, all the headlines I'm going to cover, it's on my Twitter. So I'm not one that, that's all I do. I tweet that. I don't reply to tweets. I don't, yeah. I'm not into Twitter. But it's a useful tool. Sorry. Trying to find this and at the same time not trying to fly past it, which I apparently did. I don't know how the hell I did that, but okay. I thought it was today that I put it out. Hang on. Because there ain't many that I put out today. So, believe it or not, there aren't a ton of headlines for like covering the whole weekend. I mean, Friday had a lot, but that's really about it. Aside from that, there's and there's a lot of crazy going on too. So. And Trump spoke up, and apparently he has said that he doesn't think that it should be a mandatory thing. I don't know. I'm very cautious. I'm certainly not going to put my trust in man. That's not going to happen. But a little help would be nice. Hang on. Maybe it wasn't today. Maybe the other one wasn't today. I thought it was. I would have swore that it was. So anyway, I've got these 2. And let me put this one up. And let me put this one up. And bring them up so you can see them. I don't think the camera's gonna work in the little viewy thingy, because I think it's messed up, but that's okay. Let me just bring the regular web browser up. There you go. So Fauci warns of worst variant that could impact the vaccinated if COVID-19 is allowed to keep mutating in unvaxxed population. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's not how it works. You're more likely gonna cause a variant, gonna cause a mutation as a result of medical interaction. You feel me? The reason why we have all these superbugs is because of the society that takes antibiotics at the drop of a hat. And so over time you have more resistant strains of these illnesses, and that's just how nature works. And so there is a good chance that the cause of the variants has actually been the vaccine. And that's a fact. That is a medical fact. I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't. Why? Because I do want to keep this YouTube channel. I wouldn't be saying it if I was talking out my butt. It's a medical fact. However, you've got this person telling everybody else that the variants or the fault of the unvaccinated. You see what they're doing here? You see what they're doing here? Now, if that wasn't bad enough, and I warned of this, coming soon for the unvaccinated, a $50 monthly paycheck deduction from your employer. And believe me, it's going to get worse than that. In fact, what's going to happen is, if this doesn't scare people, now this is going to be done through the insurance companies, okay? This is going to be done through the insurance companies, which is what I warned about. You got to be very careful of insurance companies, especially with employers, okay? Because they have mandated a lot of stuff, right? They've mandated your drug tests, your pre-employment drug test. Most of your insurance companies, for the employers, mandate the criminal background checks and all that stuff. And what it essentially is it's a bunch of businessmen and politicians that are just passing money around. Okay, because that's what it is. Because guess what? Somebody's got to own the drug testing companies. Somebody's got to own the companies that do the background checks and yada, 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 yada. And so they're just passing money back and forth to their friends. That's what it amounts to. Okay, that is truly what it amounts to. And infringing upon your privacy. So I knew this was coming, and it will take a step up. It won't just be this deduction or anything like that. It will step up, and it will be that they won't be able to insure an employee that is unvaccinated. That'd be the next step that the insurance companies, for the employers, that's going to be the next step that they take. Okay? Like I say, I knew that this card was going to be played long ago, because it's just, man, they use the insurance companies for so much dirty work. Unbelievable. So the other one that I had saw, the other headline, I can't remember off the top. That's why I was hoping I was going to be able to find it easier. Was more or less really driving home the fear. Okay, he was talking about how he was. I believe it was how he was for mandatory vaccinations, if I'm not mistaken. We'll probably run into it, and I can stop and talk about it a little bit more. I'm sure we'll run into it because I shared it out. Let me go ahead and bring Studio View back up. I can't believe that didn't work. Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. Like I said, I adjusted my USB connectors while the intro was going. And so kind of actually froze my camera, and I'm surprised I actually got this one going, so I'll take it. So what can we do? That's the best question right now. Speak up. Speak loud. This whole country is getting ugly. Very ugly. There was, here. Hang on. I know I can find this quickly. I love that, by the way. Yeah, it's a shocking number of people went from "I'll punch a Nazi" to "show me your papers." Yep. And it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Let me pull this up. Just to give you an idea. This is a totally different subject. Totally different subject. But check this out.
What is that? What is that?
Let me try to go full screen. There you go.
We speak peace to you in Jesus' name. What the fuck's going on? Knock him out. Hey, come on now. Get back. Calm down. No. What? Calm down. We're good.
All cops are bastards. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Go.
So you get the idea. I don't even know what to think about that. It was a prayer group. They got together to pray. They had their equipment stolen. I mean, got damaged and then stolen. It appeared they were stealing it. This has got to stop. These people just running roughshod over innocent individuals has got to stop. We've got some ugly times ahead, and that's why I might have been a bit rough when I started this out, and it is what it is. But it is important, it is vital that you identify the individuals in your life that are going to roll over and the ones that's not. And you're going to have to make sure you expel the rollovers and pulling tight with the ones that's not. I'm serious. The good book talks, and we've had this happen before, right in our own nation, but the good book talks about how people will go against each other, brother and sister, husband and wife. You know the drill. And it's not the first time in this nation alone. They saw some of that during the Civil War. But I think it's going to be even more so this time for a number of reasons. For one, the population in comparison to the times of the Civil War is much different. The rhetoric is much different. I think it'd be a lot uglier than what the Civil War could have ever imagined to be. And population density alone is a big factor in that. You don't want to be in the cities, folks. If you're in a city right now, do what you can. Do what you can to make at least to have somewhere well outside of the city to go. That's the thing. That's the ticket. That's the ticket. And don't wait too long to make that move. I'm serious. Because when this goes down, oh wow, my whole screen here disappeared. That is interesting. When this goes down, not going to be good. That was real interesting. I got to back up. I've got a screen. I know you guys can't see it super well, and I'm not going to put it up on screen. For monitoring the show, and it's where I see your chat and stuff like that. And it just went blank. The entire page went blank. I'd never seen it do that before. Very interesting. Saying we lost we lost 600,000 in the Civil War. Yeah, see, I couldn't put a number on it. I wasn't sure. That's quite a few. Kyle, do you offhand know how many years the Civil War lasted? I don't. So, in all honesty, I know I talk about history quite a bit here and comparing, what's going on today with history. But I don't remember history verbatim like that. I can't give you years. I can't give you lengths of time. I can give you events, which I think is kind of the important part of it. I never was a fan of history until I got older and realized just how much of it is really important. I'm more a fan of it now than ever, but I've got too many other things that I think is a little more important. 61 through 65. Thank you. So 4 years, essentially. So, 150,000 a year. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Wow. And in considering the population at that time, that's stunning. That is truly stunning. At the same time, I wonder how many were the disease, because that's an important factor to look at. Yeah, I caught you that was just the soldiers. That's, no matter how you stack it, that's a lot of deaths. A lot of deaths. And yeah, I do firmly believe that this will be worse. Yeah. 600,000, in all honesty, is probably going to be the first few months. I'm just being real. It's going to be ugly. The crazy thing is sitting here talking to you, I have to detach, personally. If anybody ever wonders how it is I can discuss the things that I can in the ways that I can and not be emotional about it, it's because I detach. I have to. And I encourage you to learn how to do that. You can't think emotionally in a time that you need to be logical. This whole situation is not a fun one to be in. I don't want to be in it. I absolutely don't want to be in it. But I'm not given that choice. I don't have that privilege to make that choice. I mean, I made my choice. I don't want it. It goes against my faith. And I'm not being cute. I am not being cute. It absolutely goes against my faith. Any type of gene therapy goes against my faith. I've prayed about it. I've prayed long and hard about it. Nah. Nope. That is crossing the line of messing with the Father's creation. That crosses the line. So, it's a hard no. It's not an option for me. Not even an option. Let me look down. Was the only way? Good question. Good question, Steve. No, the Civil War wasn't the only way. And in fact, that's kind of what I hit on earlier when I was talking about how we have been, in society, we have more or less been conditioned to accept two choices, one or the other, and to choose from those two choices, that there is no other options. And it's the same here with it's you don't just have those two options. There are several options here. At this point right now, there are several options. But I think it really depends on what we do in the now as to how many of those options stay open for how long. Okay? When they've got the troops loaded up, you're starting to run out of options pretty quick. And I know I say that and I laugh, but again, you might want to learn how to detach. I've never been in military combat, but I can tell you that that's probably a tool, being able to detach, that will put you at a very high advantage. If you could approach that moment without fear or even anger clouding your mind, that makes you dangerous. Learn to detach. Oh hell, I hope we don't have to fight anybody, to be real honest. And I can't say that. I don't know what you mean for sure. Let me clarify what you mean. You say that we can't fight active duty military. Well, if somebody's trying to shoot you, I'm pretty sure you got a couple of options there. That's the moment that I'm talking about, to where if we just let it go and don't do anything, that's the moment I'm talking about, that you have no other options. You've got one or the other at that point. My hope is that we can speak up now, we can be loud, and we can let them know that, look, this is what it's going to come to. But here's the problem, here's the caveat with that. It's what they want. It's what they want. No matter what we do at this point, we pretty much play right into their hands. From what I see. If somebody else has figured out an angle, something different than me, by all means, please run it my way. But I would ask Bo, seriously, in all seriousness, I would ask Bo of the 5th Column, dude, me, I ain't taking it. Get it through your head. Period. The only way that's going into my body is if I'm a corpse laying there at the time. That's it. That's your option. I don't want it to come to that. I don't want to have to go there. I'm asking for the opportunity to not have to go there. That's as much as I can do. Yeah, I hear you, Steve. Yeah, they make it simple for us, is how that works. Yeah, I definitely caught when he threatened us with the F-15s and the nukes. I definitely caught that. Oh, to finish what I was going to say. But, Bo, my question is, where do we go, brother? Where do we go from here, man? Where do we go? You let me know. Where do we go, man? Because I ain't taking it, and there's a slew of other people that ain't taking it. Where do we go from here, man? Let's cut out all the bullshit. Let's cut out all the talk, the jabber, 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 jabber. Let's cut it all out. Where do we go from here? Man to man, where do we go from here? Work? We go to work? Is that what we do? All I want is the option to be left out. That's all I'm asking. My natural right. And I don't care if you don't believe in my Creator. I do. It's not about whether or not you believe in Him. Not taking that right away from me either. I honestly think that dude's working. I honestly think that dude's right now actively working. Anyway. I hear you, Kyle. I mean, that's just it. It is the hill. Even over the Second Amendment, in my opinion. Right? To me, this crosses more of a line than the Second Amendment, because this is a natural. I mean, so is the right to self-defense. But a gun is not the only way you can defend yourself. Okay? I'm just saying. But this goes against natural rights, which is above and beyond the Constitution. By far. It sucks. It sucks that we're looking at this. It sucks that we have to be talking about this. I would much rather be covering other stuff. Hell, I'd love to tell you about my weekend. Spent time in the flight simulator, finished my flight that I was doing across the country in the DC-6. I finished that yesterday during Shabbat. And so, yeah, in fact, that's what all the papers here are for, right? And you might think that that's something real crazy. That's actually a reference manual for the DC-6 because, yeah, it's that kind of complicated of an aircraft. But anyway, I don't want to be in this spot. All I'm asking is for myself and others that are so inclined to be removed out of that spot. Stop the rhetoric about how the unvaccinated is causing all the harm. Stop it. On the emotional side, I kind of feel for some of these people pushing the rhetoric because I don't think they have any clue of anything. Really. I don't think they have any clue of what they're pushing, and I don't think they have any clue of what's coming. There was one guy. I've been spending some time, of course, over social media, the local news. Of course, they've been hammering out story after story after story. Get active in those posts. Speak up. And when you're in there, take a look. You'll notice quickly. There's a lot more of you than there are of them. And you'll notice that real quick. Yeah, I mean, and see, I just caught what you said. Yeah, there's still tons of protests going on in France, and I believe they're protesting in London, Germany, what else? Austria, I think it's both Austria and Australia. I could be wrong. I said Germany, London, all over. Massive protests everywhere but here. Everywhere but here. The nation that is the beacon of freedom. Frustrating. As I was saying, I kind of actually am more concerned, at what's going to happen as far as in the immediate in our communities and stuff like that, because of the rhetoric that's going back and forth. See, I have no interest in this. I want to be left alone. I'm a leave me the hell alonist. That's my political affiliation. Leave me the hell alonist. And I don't think that the media is going to let this go. I don't know if you've seen how people are acting on social media. The people that are afraid to death of this, and the people that are pushing the vaccine so hard, that alone concerns me about this vaccine. The way that people are acting that have gotten it. I'm not kidding you. There's a whole lot of them that have the mentality, well, I've got it, you got to get it. No, I don't. A lot of things you probably do, I don't have to do, and I won't do. You would be surprised with my life, the things that I don't do. I don't do a lot of what the average everyday person does. Don't watch TV, don't watch sports, I don't spend my life gossiping. I don't live like most people. I just don't. I don't do porn, which, how strange is that for a guy, right? I am concerned about the local areas because that's where it'll get ugly first. And I haven't seen any reports, and if anybody has, throw them my way, let me know. But I haven't seen any reports yet of anything serious happening as far as, vaxxers against anti-vaxxers, kind of as far as, I haven't seen much of anything reporting on people attacking each other. I've seen and heard more over the masks than I have anything on the vaccine yet. But it's coming. Again, all you have to do is look at the rhetoric on social media. There's a lot of people that and this is the bothersome thing for me. These folks that are pushing this really don't understand the line that they're crossing. I don't think they understand the line that they're crossing. And I don't think that they understand that the people that mean no, how committed they are to it. And that's where it's going to get sticky. Because there's a lot of things that people's kind of been at the very best been able to kind of turn their head and ignore. right? A lot of stuff's been going on over the last, we'll say, 12 years that people have been able to manage to turn their head and ignore. Okay? Things that were forced upon society. I think I could say it like that without getting involved in any one of the things in particular and making this a whole conversation about that. But, you know, there's been a lot of agendas pushed over the course of the last 12 years. And they've largely gotten away with their agendas. And this is not one of those agendas where people can just turn their head and walk away. And that's where the problem is. You've got 12 years. They're so pumped up right now because they've had 12 years of victory. Okay? And you might say, well, Trump was in office 4 years. Oh, no, they had 4 years of victory with Trump. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at what they did. For the entire 4 years he was in office, you could hardly hear him speak because of how loud they were screaming. And how much was given in to them just to shut them up, even during those 4 years. They've got some awful big damn heads right now. But it's a false sense of security. Because there are some things that people's not going to turn their head and walk away. A forced medical procedure, especially in light of all of the stuff that we've seen up until now, all of the lies, all of the flip-flopping, people have a right to be skeptical about this. I would say if you have a critically thinking brain cell in your body, you would be skeptical about this. Just look at what's happened over the course of the past going on 2 years. You absolutely have a right. You know, there have been people for quite some time now that's been trying to fight to get rights back as far as children are concerned, and the vaccine schedules with children. I have, and I've voiced my concerns over the children's vaccine schedule many times. And I'm very concerned that it has very strong links to another insanely rocketing high medical condition in children in our society now. I'll leave it at that. You guys, I'm sure, can connect those dots. Now, I'm looking at this a little bit further back than a lot of people. I'm trying to figure out the whole agenda. And to do that, you have to look at what they're doing to the different generations, okay? That's how you know that this is a big thing that's going on. This isn't some little bitty madman on a small scale. No, this is something that's been well orchestrated and been carried out over decades. But look at where the different generations are in our society. Look at the mindsets of the different generations and understand that that's all a part of social engineering. You've got the elderly people, right? And I don't know that boomers, if I can use that term, would go up into the what you would call elderly. I don't know if it quite spans that far. But look at the elderly, okay? Most of them, sadly, are pretty much forgotten. Not very many families are taking in their elderly family members anymore. Mostly they get put in nursing homes, care facilities. Many moons ago, usually the family stepped up and took care of things. Yeah, that's you can thank our throwaway society for that too. It even went on into to the elderly. And there's many other factors too. I mean, hell, who can, right? When you've got a mom and dad in a household with children, and both mom and dad got to work full time to be able to argue over which bills they're going to pay that month. Not even an option anymore. And none of this is by chance. See? Those are the generations. Now, the boomer generation, right? The boomer generation, you know, they had to work their butts off, but they didn't have it that bad. They were able to achieve goals. They were able to put money back. They were able to start businesses. They were able to do these things. Save back a nest egg, right? And so they lived and were raised with that mindset. And so in their heads, you can still do it. Because that's what they saw when they were that age, when they were going through that part of their life. But it's really not the case anymore. And that's kind of the reason why the millennials are screaming. Right? But here's the thing. The powers that be use the education system to stupefy our young. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all the young kids are stupid. I'm not saying that. But they're definitely not as educated as what their elders were. And that's a fact. Well, you got things like Common Core, they're just not educated on the same level. And their mindset is different as well, too, which plays a big role. So can you see, even if they were given the opportunity now, a lot of them wouldn't be able to fare as well as what the boomer generation did, because they don't have the same kind of intellect, both from a social and an educational standpoint. See, all of these generations were engineered to be this way so that it would collapse. The chances of us being able to restore and maintain a society with our generational divides that we have. And that's the generational divides. Think of all the other 9 million divides they have this country in. And that's how they win. Because essentially, their hope is that we can't get our shit together. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are where we stand. Right here. You have to make a choice in your life as how you move forward from here. I don't like doing shows like this. I don't want to do shows like this. I don't want to go to work. Well, I do, but not that kind of work. I want to sit in my computer chair. I want to fly on Flight Simulator once in a while. I don't know. We watched a movie today, right? That doesn't happen very often. I did, actually. Watch the Suicide Squad movie. Tomorrow's thumbnail for the show's already done, and it's actually a screenshot from the movie. So, that was interesting, I must say. The parallels, the symbology, that's not a word, is it? The symbolism. You know how I know symbology isn't a word? Another movie. What was that, 7? I think that's the movie 7. No. What the hell am I thinking? It was the brothers, Boondock Saints. I'm not a movie person, but there are a few I've seen and a few I love. I really don't know what else to cover on this. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be talking about a little bit more tomorrow and in the coming days, especially as more information comes out. But get ready. I mean, I know we've been saying it, you know, not just us, but tons of individuals, tons of prepper channels and all that. But I'm telling you, you need to make sure that your mental conditioning is in the right place. And I'm telling you, that's hard to do when you are around or you're listening to people that don't have it in the right place. And you need to identify those people. Or try to. Sometimes it's hard to. I've seen a few things in my life, and I've begun pretty good at knowing who can hang and who can't. And I'm speaking emotionally, mentally. You'd be shocked. And there's a lot of people who tell you that I wouldn't be able to hang. But if you'd ever been one of those people around me in one of those moments, yeah, I'm not even there. I'm doing what needs to be done. I'll be back later. But as far as the emotional part of me, just gone. So, number of times I've had to respond to different situations in life that would normally be very emotional events. And, yeah, I don't know. It's not something I can't sit there and say that I trained for years. No, that's just a quirk of me. It's just a quirk. So, anyway, let's do some headlines. Let's get the hell out of here. I've actually went on kind of long tonight. I got a lot to say about this, man. This ain't good. And we need to have this hard discussion right now real quick and get it out of the way. Right? Where do we go from here? There's Group A that wants to force you to take it, and Group B that says no. Let's cut out all the bullshit. Cut it all out. Where do we go from here? Plain and simple. Let me know. Have that respect to let me know. And then we go from there. Simple enough. Alright, I'll see if it fixed, but I doubt it fixed, and no, it didn't fix. I meant that little browser thing, I'll show you. Hey, like I'm waving my hand, but you can't see me waving my hand because the camera's froze. Yeah. So, let me just give you the web browser here. And we'll do some headlines starting with Friday. And I wanted to make sure I got this in, because anytime I see anything like this, it's like, wow, because I'm a science nut. Perfectly preserved cave lion cub found frozen in Siberia is 28,000 years old. Even its whiskers are intact. Now, I've talked about this type of stuff before. And in order for that lion cub to be preserved like that, you know what it means? There had to be a really quick temperature change. Really quick, really drastic, and really long lasting. Those three things in order to get there. So when I talk about pole shift, it's these things that I am thinking about when I tell you that we will reach a point in which the geomagnetic and the physical pole shifts. And it will be quick. Many, not most, won't make it. Let's see. Illinois Secretary of State employees must show proof of vaccination or be tested for COVID. And you're starting to see this roll out a lot. But how this is, I think, going to play out is I think you're going to see that if they even entertain this for a bit, it's going to get to the point to where they're going to say, okay, but you have to pay for the tests. See what I'm saying? They're going to make it, here's the thing. They've got their agenda, and they're not going to back up from it. Plain and simple. They're not going to back up from their agenda. They're going to see this through. Unless we can convince them that it's not the right time. So, but I think they're running out of time. I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs of what's going on in crazy clown world, but it seems like they're running out of time. Bloodied St. Vincent PM hospitalized with head injury after rioter hurls rock amid chaotic protest against vaccine mandate. Okay, this is in the Grenadines, St. Vincent. Japanese PM Suga apologizes for skipping the most important part of the Hiroshima atomic bombing anniversary speech. Indian refiners to invest $27 billion to raise capacity by 20%. Former President Zuma hospitalized from prison after jailing led to South Africa's worst riots in years. And again, we're on Friday's headlines. A manhunt in Moscow as inmates stage dramatic jailbreak, leaving cops looking for suspected crossbow killer in Sausage King case. What were you doing during lockdown? Moscow sees COVID-19 pandemic baby boom as new data reveals births increased 48% in May 2021. Now, I'm curious if the U.S. had the same. I am curious. I have suspicion that if the United States had an increase, it wasn't by that much. Russia's southern resorts see huge growth in domestic tourism as residents choose Sochi and Geldzin. I can't say that. Gelendzik. How do you even say DZHIK all together? You right? Anyway, over PCR test and quarantine. Europe's carbon tax could cost Russia nearly $12 billion by 2030. COVID curbs to be extended in Vietnamese capital Hanoi as cases persist. Let's see. U.S. government-funded project harvest organs from aborted babies for medical research documents show. Pardon me. And I'm sure you remember, I believe it was Project Veritas, and, others have covered this, talked about this, and there was debate as to whether or not it was doctored and all that. This takes all that away. This dunks it. This takes out any debate. Insane. Insane. Israel fires artillery rounds into South Lebanon following rocket attack. Chief of Afghan government's media department assassinated, says police. Shameless political manipulation. China rebukes Biden's offer of a safe haven in the U.S. for Hong Kongers. China's Xiaomi beats Samsung and Apple in smartphone sales in June. Abandoned Moscow. Russian defense minister says country should now move capital eastwards and build 5 new cities in remote Siberia. Italy makes Vax Pass mandatory for teachers, students, and public transport passengers amid ongoing protests over new health ID. So, and this is Italy, okay? So you got all kinds of protests going on. You've got mandatory vaccine passes, you name it. This is a global effort. Make no mistake. And isn't it just amazing that it came just in time, that the states all have their, real ID compliant identification cards. You know who ain't got one of those? Polish minister suggests country could quit EU due to blackmail over judicial reforms. Japan tops 1 million COVID-19 cases as Olympics fuels new infections. It's a setup. Many activists in Myanmar remain unconvinced by junta's offer to pardon protesters. Yeah, I just looked over in chat. Sorry, I don't pay attention to chat as much as I really should. Jen walked in the other room for a moment, so that's why I'm kind of trying to catch it. Yeah, Tim did a really good job of covering it. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Timcast IRL, folks, that dude's got it on. I am so proud of Tim Pool. I'd always been proud of Tim, even when he kind of was a little liberal-brained. But the man has grown tremendously, and I'm speaking of as a man. He has grown tremendously, and what he does, the show he puts together, is incredible. And I'm sure, Kyle, you probably caught the... oh, no, don't worry about plugging him here. If you can tell, I'll plug him. Did you happen to catch the show the other night to where, I can't remember the individuals, but let's just say he had a liberal on and conservative. I can't remember names. That was incredible. And I think he did a really good job of moderating that. I really do. I thought that was a good show. So hopefully he does it again, but hopefully he doesn't make that a norm, because there's too much of that already. Putting a bunch of people in a room, everybody screaming at each other, and that's not getting anywhere, But I feel like what he did got somewhere. There were many points that each other understood about each other's positions that had it been... I think that the same ideal in a different environment, say a different show or whatever, I don't think would have been able to get hashed out, because they wouldn't have been able to allow to get that deep in the thought. That's what they do. That they keep everybody, not they meaning Tim, but that the mainstream media, they keep everybody on the talking points. And you're never going to get anywhere if you just stick to talking points when discussing stuff. That's what they're intended for, is to keep you from getting anywhere. But yeah, absolutely. He incredible stuff. Let's see. Oh, Russian woman takes fast food chain McDonald's to court, claiming the ad for cheeseburger, forced her to break her religious fast. So there's that. Yeah. I mean... I'm sorry. McDonald's isn't enough to to get me to let down the Father. Yeah, I hear ya. I hear you, Kyle. I had a hard time listening to that dude too. A real hard time, man. I think everybody did. So he probably had a hard time listening to himself. Fraternity members at Belgian University face criminal charges after black student died following violent hazing. It's an act of retaliation. Jailed hacktivist denied legal calls after publishing article about U.S. prison abuse, his wife says to RT. And we're still on Friday's news. I'm sorry, Friday's news. No big deal. Moscow unfazed after OSCE reveals that it will not be sending election observers to Russia for the first time since 1993. Volunteer firefighter becomes first fatality of devastating Greek fires amid extreme heat wave. Sorry, now that I've got everybody yawning. Let me have a couple of vapes. Not that it's going to prevent me from yawning anymore, but I could use some nicotine. Okay. Energy bills to spike by at least £139 for millions of UK households already struggling amid pandemic. Now, I want you to remember this headline, okay? This headline is Friday. I put this headline out Friday. This headline covers the UK. Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you to remember that, because we're going to come up to another article that I put out today about the United States. Just thought it was kind of interesting. 4 stabbed in knife attack on Tokyo train, suspect detained after escape. Europe, and again, this is Friday's news. European gas prices jumped to record highs amid drop in deliveries from Russia. Germany launches negligent homicide investigation over fatal floods. Regional chief at the forefront of the probe. Taliban takes first provincial capital in Afghanistan as of city of Zaranj falls into group's hands. I'm sure I said the name of the city wrong. Australian police detain 26-year-old over 2019 Parliament House rape allegation. Arizona senator arrested for alleged child molestation, says the media. Outraged Lebanese villagers block rocket launching Hezbollah trucks, fearing risk of Israeli reprisals. French wine production falls to historically low level after vineyards devastated by severe frost. UK to use TikTok influencers to urge teens to get the jab after Pfizer-linked vaccine committee chair admits policy lacks evidence. You hear that? What they're doing there? Oh, just wait. Just wait. Because in D.C., they're giving the kids AirPods if they take the jab. I'm serious. Japan planned to withhold public announcement of highly infectious Lambda COVID variant until after the Tokyo Olympics, says the media. So it's so serious that we're going to have to roll out mandatory vaccines for the entire populace of the earth because it's so dangerous. But only after we get the Olympics in. EU drugs regulator recommends flagging new possible adverse reactions to Johnson & Johnson COVID jab on the product label. Russian police investigating Satanist murders discover body buried in woods after pair admits killing and eating victim, says reports. We covered this story last week. and apparently they found a body. In rebuke to Ukraine, Zelensky, Russia's defense minister, claims that Crimea always has been and always will be Russian land. Palestinian shot dead by Israeli forces, health ministry says. Others injured as clashes erupt in Nablus. Let's see. South Korea to compensate nurse paralyzed after AstraZeneca vaccine. But why? I thought it didn't do stuff like that. Face-off has been resolved. India and China pull troops back from Himalayan border flashpoint. Russia sends troops to Armenian border with Azerbaijan after cry for help from Yerevan following altercations with Azeri forces. Major warehouse fire sends massive column of black smoke into skies over Istanbul. Again, this was Friday. Family of slain January 6 protester Ashley Babbitt suing Capitol Police for $10 million over failure to warn before shooting. U.S. seeks to entice Brazil with prospect of joining NATO global partnership if it bans China's untrustworthy Huawei, says reports. Let's see. Biden says over 350 Americans have been vaccinated in a nation of 331 million. Must be vaccinating all those Democrat voters too, huh? CNN's strange Wuhan lab story suggests U.S. spies hacked Chinese database, hints that probe into COVID-19 origins may take longer. You know, I think they know damn well where this came from and all about it. American investment guru Calvi handed 5.5-year suspended jail term in Russia for fraud as controversial case comes to an end. India tops 500 million mark in total number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered. Western liberals are threatened by Hungary's success, can't accept cooperative national alternative, Orban tells Tucker Carlson. Vietnam should be careful. U.S. is a global empire hooked on war, veteran tells RT ahead of the VP Harris visit. Retaliation 5, I guess, all who challenge power, prison's mistreatment of hacktivist Gottisfeld is par for the course, a whistleblower says. Snowden joins battle against iPhone photo scanning plan as Apple insults privacy activists as screeching voices of the minority. Yeah. It's absolutely insane what they are wanting to be able to take complete and total control. Like overnight. And they have the technology, they pretty much have the ability to do it. Man, if the lights and the internet went out right now, boom, for all of us at one time, yeah, we'd be pretty screwed. Families of 9/11 victims tell Biden not to attend memorials until he honors pledge to declassify documents on possible Saudi role. I thought that was an interesting headline. What harm? White House's Psaki says her child is happy to wear a mask all day just to go to school and play with others. Yeah, we know how y'all listen to the rules that you put out on us. Top court in Spain, Andalusia, rejects plan to make COVID-19 passports mandatory to visit nightclubs. Austrian court sentences Chechen arms dealer to life in prison over killing of Kadyrov critic. A woman files first criminal complaint accusing New York Governor Cuomo of grabbing her breast, says reports. And this is, again, Friday's news. So my question is it's Sunday. And now I haven't heard any more. I'm not saying that there's not any more. But do you know how this works for the rest of us? Why ain't it working like that? Taliban fighters joyride in Humvees after capturing Nimrod's provincial capital. I'm saying that's all wrong, I think. And seizing more U.S.-made weaponry. We are now to yesterday's news, Saturday. DHS hypes increasing threat from conspiracy theorists and extremists seeking Trump return, but unaware of any specific plots. So yeah, we're going with this rhetoric and narrative again, but not just them. Not just them. We've got the Q people are back. I don't get it. There is like no way at all. There's no way to get to the point to where Trump is back in office, okay? Not unless he is elected again. But there is no appointing him. There is nothing that he is getting back. And people need to understand this. This is distractions. There's a whole lot of people running around talking about this right now. You know what they're not talking about? Getting ready for what's staring them in the face. For what really is staring them in the face. Here, they're grasping onto something that will save them. As long as they don't have to save themselves. People are so afraid to have to save themselves. So they idolize men. Think Trump is going to be standing between you and that person that wants to force you to do something that's against your natural rights? Do you really think Trump is going to stand in between? Time we grow up. Swiss Miss, Russia projected to overtake Switzerland in chocolate exports by the end of the year. Moscow to raise tax on metal mining firms in 2022 to tackle raw material shortage, says Putin. U.S. states must use common sense and protect female inmates from male predators who identify as women, an activist tells RT. Slowdown in China's exports may signal further decline for industrial sector. And, yeah, about that. I didn't even talk tonight about groceries. I'll do that tomorrow night. But yeah, things as far as on the shortage topic are not looking real super good. Okay, there's stuff you need. I've been saying it. There's stuff you need. If you got what you need, if you feel real comfortable with what you've gotten in your preps and stuff, and there's something you've got some cash, and there's something that you just want, you might want to get on it. Especially if it's electronic. The only thing I wouldn't recommend jumping on right now is buying a house. That would be foolish. Now, maybe selling a house, right? If you could jump on it real quick and unload it, and then sit on that for a little bit. I mean, and that's if everything don't go to hell in a handbasket. But let's see. Gorbachev blames communist hardliners and nationalists for Soviet collapse, Most others blame him, but USSR was doomed from the start. Well, I'm going to put the blame where it goes, and that would be the CIA. I mean, we were a large part of that. Kind of how we do things. We go in, we destabilize, we try to win over the hearts and the minds, blah, 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 blah. We get people to beg and scream freedom, although it's not really freedom. Yeah. Lawsuit filed against U.S. State Department for allegedly concealing info on abusive anal swab testing of American diplomats in China. Yeah, they don't even want you to know that our diplomats was going through that humiliating treatment over there. Without independent probe, some UNSC members not ready to back West's claims about Mercer Street tanker attack, a UN source tells RT. A lot of people catching on to this stuff. Twitter mob angry at podcast host Joe Rogan after he blames jabs for virus mutations and blasts mandatory vaccination. I did the same thing tonight. Oh, don't cancel me, bro. You can't cancel me much more than I'd already been I was canceled by my own family. I've had a lifetime of being canceled. Cancel me, bro. Putin calls Austria one of Russia's crucial partners in Europe. Son of a bitch. I didn't really have to read it, but I figured why not. Brazilian President Bolsonaro insults top judge amid electoral system dispute. By the way, that's the one thing you didn't call my dad. That is the one thing. He said, you never call me. I did once. I did. And you know what he did? Nothing. Nothing. You know why? Because I was ready right then and there to put an end to all of it between me and him. And he knew it. He damn well knew it. I'm telling you, I'm cut from a bit of a different cloth than a lot of people. I got zero use for bullshit. Zero use for fake people. Bureau of Prisons uses Constitution as toilet paper and must be held accountable for barring hacktivists' legal calls, his wife says to RT. U.S. oil consumption dropped to 25-year low in 2020. Thousands protest across France over Macron's COVID-19 health pass and mandatory vaccination. Taliban captures second Afghan provincial... Oh, wait a minute. I read these. How did I know for a fact I read those. I guess I shared those over again. Somehow. That's weird. Okay, I didn't read this one. Russian bombers and Spetsnaz train in Afghan border drills with Uzbekistan and Tajikistan as Taliban advances. U.S. sends B-52 bombers to Afghanistan in bid to stop Taliban offensive as strategic city of Kunduz sees militants entering. I don't know how to say that one. This is what I was talking about a while ago. Youth vaccine giveaway. D.C. mayor dangles free Apple iPods to encourage teen vaccinations. This is disgusting. That is beyond disgusting. Black realtor was showing a home to a black father and son. They were handcuffed by Michigan police. This was an article, this was actually from KMOV. I think Free Thought Project did an article on it as well. But this is insane, folks. And this is my issue with this. Because, I mean, it didn't even need to reach the handcuff stage. It should have been resolved long before that. The moment that the one gentleman said, "Oh, I'm a realtor," because I'm sure he did, then why wasn't it simple? Okay, do you got a card, a business card or something to, I need your ID, a business card, because yeah, that would make sense in that particular instance. And I would say it would be smart, it would be wise if that's all you were doing and you were innocent, just provide the information. I get it. Abandoned, empty house, there's people walking around it. I know. No. We gotta handcuff them and put them through the whole damn interrogation, and it didn't have to be that way. Plain and simple, didn't have to be that way. Let's see, and just remember, this just following orders mindset is going to be used against you when it comes to medical tyranny. Liberal elites, now we are to this morning's news, liberal elites are laughing at us. Obama scaled back 60th, and it scaled back as in quotes, by the way, 60th birthday party, I can't talk now, draws celeb guests and ire from conservatives. Yeah, I mean, there's a video that's going around. They ain't got masks on and all that, just partying it up. And supposedly individuals that were there that had taken pictures and put them on social media, pictures, videos, stuff like that, had been told to remove them. Yeah. Can you believe that? It won't stop until we stop it. See, it's only happening because we're allowing it. Well, yeah, you are. If you're going and voting every 4 years and that's it, guess what? Russia's foreign exchange reserves grow by more than $9 billion in July. Suspect in Tokyo train stabbing in which 10 were injured sought to kill women who looked happy, says the media. Low-income households to bear the brunt of all electric homes. This is the article I was talking about. Remember a while ago I was telling you that there was an article that would talk about the United States and electric bills, and this is already laying the groundwork, the narrative for increasing the energy costs. What do you mean? Well, they're telling you essentially that it's the low-income houses that are going to be more likely to have the electric heat, and that heat, that form of heat, is going to become more expensive, which is essentially the exact same thing that the article from the UK was saying. You don't think this is global? They will squeeze us until we pop. If they want us stacked and packed in these big cities, right, where they can give us deals. They can give us deals. And as long as we comply and do every little thing that they say, well, then we'll have enough to eat to survive. And our heat will work. Our air conditioning will work when we need it. But what won't work is that whole situation. Not for me. A video showing Antifa attacking Portland prayer event as left-wingers claim violent ambush broke up far-right rally. Yeah, it wasn't a far-right rally, not even remotely. It was a prayer group. Drone footage of Greece's second-largest island shows path of destruction wrought by massive wildfires. Seoul to conduct joint military drill with U.S. this month despite strong warnings from Pyongyang, South Korean media says. Saudi Aramco quarterly profits nearly quadruple amid recovery in oil and chemical prices. Let's see. Moment of fiery fatal plane crash in Minnesota caught in terrifying surveillance video. It was a Mooney M20 had went down, and apparently from witness accounts the aircraft was seen fragmenting as it was coming down. So in other words, the plane was falling apart in the sky. So I didn't really dig deep, but as far as I didn't download the video, put it up in a video editor and go frame by frame is what I'm getting at. But you can tell that when that aircraft impacted the ground, an entire wing was missing before it even impacted the ground. So unfortunately, they didn't have a chance. So hashtag fake poos. Aussies boom after Victoria's premier concedes COVID in wastewater used to justify its statewide lockdown never existed. So see, over there, you have them making up stories about stuff so that they can get the people to accept things. And it turns out that it's not even real. And as far as some of the things that were claimed to have the justification, not even real. I'm not saying that the whole thing's not real. It is. There's something going around, but it doesn't garner the response it's getting. Why do subsonic planes break up? I don't know. Some type of structural failure. I don't. I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to have a plane that go fast enough to break the speed of sound to rip the wings off of it. Not whatsoever. So, I don't know why this aircraft came apart. I don't know if the investigators will necessarily know. Not with that. I mean, they might be able to figure it out. They do have. They did find the other wing. So, being that wing didn't go up in the fiery explosion, they might be able to get some ideas from it. But it might be hard to get down to the bottom of the cause of that. Structural fatigue, anything. Aircraft are supposed to be inspected. You're supposed to catch things like corrosion and all of that. But so I honestly don't think it was that. I don't know. And I'm not familiar enough with Mooney's to even know. I do believe it's an aluminum skinned plane. That one I believe holds a total of 4 people. I don't know if he exceeded the V&E, which is the maximum speed. That would rip a wing off. I don't know. Let's see. Netanyahu blasted for desecrating Jewish traditions after ex-Israeli PM congratulates Olympic champ on Saturday. Iran blasts inhumane U.S. on anniversary of Hiroshima bombing and calls for denuclearization of the world. That's Iran calling for that. TikTok owner targets IPO in 2022 despite Beijing's major crackdown on Chinese big tech, says reports. All within the rules, UK government defends Foreign Secretary Raab for meeting Princess Anne maskless and not quarantining after the trip to France. And again, it's different sets of rules. We have to jump through all these hoops and do this, that, and the other thing. But they don't. They've got reason, this reason, that reason why they don't have to. But we do. You know what? I'll stay at home. I won't bother anybody. As long as nobody bothers me, it's good. Right? I don't need to go out and go to the movies and do this and do that and do it. I haven't in years. You know? And I'm not saying that you should feel the same way as I do. But we all have to have our hills that we stand on, and mine isn't going to be going to the movies or going to a restaurant, or, you know. But now, if you're gonna come to my home and force a medical procedure on me, that's gonna be my hill. That's gonna be my hill. Let's see. Trump takes credit for COVID vaccine rollout that saved 100 million people, but says inoculation should be voluntary. Russia unlikely to withdraw from SWIFT payment system, but can survive without it, says VTB Bank. What is Ethereum's London hard fork, and how will it impact the crypto world? RT's boom bust finds out. Taliban overruns most of Kunduz as Afghan military clings to strategic cities' airports, says reports. Black gamers claim zombies in new video game called them the N-word, sparking controversy. And I listened to it myself because I wanted to know. I wanted to know if it was just, hypochondria or whether it was real. And no, that sounds exactly what they're saying. It pretty unmistakable. Pretty unmistakable. I don't know how you could miss that when you're doing the audio up for that. I don't know if it's real possible to miss it, to be real honest. 2/3 of Americans will continue to mask up if they are sick, even post-COVID pandemic, says a poll. Navalny ally Sobel leaves Russia after court rulings find her guilty of organizing unauthorized protests during COVID-19, says reports. Iranian President Raisi gets jab of homegrown COVID-19 vaccine as daily coronavirus deaths exceed 500. Let's see. The Obama variant video of maskless former president at scaled-back birthday bash causes outrage. And I know I read a similar headline earlier. That one showed the video. Facebook has officially jumped the shark. New tool allowing users to request prayers is met with mockery. So yeah, now apparently, I guess at least it's available to some people. You can now request a prayer on Facebook. Let's see. Save Our Lives UK. Abandon Afghan interpreters plead with London as Taliban offensive rolls on. UK Special Forces team allegedly deployed to Yemen to hunt suspects in Mercer Street tanker attack. Fauci warns of worst variant that could impact the vaccinated if COVID-19 is allowed to keep mutating in unvaxxed population. We talked about that, obviously. Coming soon for the unvaccinated, a $50 monthly paycheck deduction from your employer. We talked about that. I do have a number 2 up here. IDF to call up only vaccinated and recovered reservists to 60% of immunized. Israel reintroduces full green pass restrictions. Hang on, let me get that shared out, and we'll see what the other headline was. And let's see. China's Wuhan completes citywide COVID-19 testing in 6 days, finds 37 cases and 41 asymptomatic carriers among 12 million residents. And I have gotten a whole lot of bridges to sell you if you buy that. Anywho. those would be the headlines. This would be Sunday. And I'm going to get out of here and do it all again tomorrow if the king allows me. So, anyway, I am going to get out. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to try to do a grow tent video tomorrow, just so you guys know. So, my kale I don't think is going to make it. I think I'm saving the arugula. I think I'm going to be able to pull that one arugula off, but I don't think I'm going to be successful with kale. I'm going to put something else in there. So anyway, I am out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.